lay out the entirety of Phase 2, I will say BWL and Honor comes out day 1 of Phase 2, and then 2-3 months down the line, BGs and PvP rewards, and then 2 or 3 months after that, so about 5-6 months after, or maybe not 6 months actually, because Encourage comes out at this will come out at the start of Phase 3, so they have to kind of have that period between when ZG comes out and when AQ comes out. So ZG comes out 4 months after BWL, I reckon, and then PvP BGs come out 2 months after, or even 1 month, I think would be okay. I think that's everything for Phase 2. Phase 3 was Encourage, tier 0.5. Should really put up a picture. Trying to do it off the top of my head. Tier 0.5. The Silithus content. So like I guess quests. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna have quests pre-Encourage. Yes, and Green Dragons. That's the one I forgot about. Green Dragons. Perfect. Okay, so apparently I've never actually done a Green Dragon. So any of the world boss Green Dragons. So I don't have any experience about them or what they drop or where they sit in the timeline, but I have heard that they drop nature resistance, which obviously is very important for Encourage when you get to Princess Huhuran. So I feel like Green Dragon should come out before Encourage. Yeah, like the way they have these on the picture here seems like it seems like it's kind of like you have 1, 2, 3, 4 different items in one phase that they're gonna. That's the progression they're gonna be had. But Green Dragons need to come out before AQ if they want to kind of have that Green Dragon rush. Because what they want, and what would be great is if Green Dragons come out and every guild, everyone on the same server rushes trying to kill these Green Dragons for their gear. Right? That would be so much fun. Right, it will be so chaotic. It will be hilarious. I think it will be great. So I think having that come out as its own separate thing before Encourage will actually be very, very helpful. So I think Phase 1, at the start of Phase 1, Green Dragons. I don't really know where tier 0.5, where it sits in importance. So I guess maybe that comes out at the start as well. It's hard to say. And then maybe 3 or 2 months after Green Dragons comes out, you have Encourage. The opening, obviously. Oh no, hang on. Yeah, so about 2 months they could then start the war effort supply, which the war effort and the quest, the Scepter of Shifting Sands quests, start that 2 months maybe after Green Dragons, and then I guess it takes however long it takes to do the war effort, and then boom, the opening of Encourage and the raids of Encourage as well comes out maybe depending, maybe like 2.5-3 months after Green Dragons, so pretty much after the start of Stage 3. So yeah, I mean that was a pretty simple one, and then we have Stage 4, which is Naxxramas and the Scourge Invasion. I don't mind them coming out at the same time. Let's see here. So maybe at the end of the 3rd stage, in that 6-month period, they could just release Naxxramas and the Scourge Invasion, I'm thinking. Because I do think that raid content should perhaps be sped up than its vanilla counterpart, just because people are far more experienced and will do these far quicker, because you don't want people to be like full AQ gear when Naxxramas comes out, because that will make Naxxramas just that little bit easier to do, and then it'll obviously make Encourage like no one will want to do it anymore, so you have to release it kind of close together. So what I'm thinking is maybe Naxxramas and Scourge Invasion right off the bat. I'm not really sure what else came out during this whole Stage 4 thing. Like, I think this was patch 1.11 is when Next came out. I'm not really sure what came out at that point. Not much, I think. So there's really not much content left to do there. So if Encourage comes out 3 months after Green Dragon, so let's say that stage 3 is 1.5. Hang on, 6 months for stage 1, 1 year for stage 2. At the end of stage 3 will be 6 months. At the end of stage 4 will be 2 years. Yeah, that works out. Okay, so what we should do, or what they should do, is Naxxramas Scourge Invasion maybe 4 months after Encourage's opening. I think that's the way they should do that. Really complicated. Like, I think I spoke for like 10 minutes and reiterated myself multiple times. Basically in summary to the content patches that they have out, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 doesn't mean everything on the list is going to come out at the exact same time. I think what they mean by stage 1, stage 2 is obviously a period of time. So MC and Nixia, Maraudon, Diamol, Kazak, and Azurgos come out spanned across a 6 month period. 6 month period, yeah. And then Blackwing Layer, BG's, Zul'Gurub comes out in the next 6 months after stage 1. Like, they spread themselves over 6 months. Encourage, Tier 0.5, Silicis, and Green Dragons spread themselves over the next 6 months, and Naxxramas Scourge over the next 6 months after that. I think that's the way they're planning on doing it, because I can't believe they could be that stupid. And it's not like, oh, they made a mistake. No, this is legitimately stupid if they were to release Diamol, Kazak, Azurgos, Maraudon all on day 1. That would be legitimately stupid. And I would very much question their credentials in game design. I really would. The last point I wanted to get to about the Classic WoW news was add-ons, since this is a very, very big and I'm not gonna say infinite, but like it's a sort of a limitless discussion about add-ons, since add-ons are in themselves somewhat limitless in what they can do. Not limitless, but you know, like from a layman's standpoint, they can do quite a lot of stuff. So it's hard to really pinpoint my exact idea for add-ons. Add-ons, it's very tough because there are so many add-ons, some that I wouldn't mind, some that I obviously don't want, and some that I really do want. Things like Bagnon obviously is like, it's one that I really want because it cleans up the bags a lot. But obviously things like I'm even questioning the idea of what do you call them, like raid add-ons like Bigwigs or DBM. Like, do I want, like, they're in the game and they will be in the game, absolutely, because that's one of the things that people are going to rush to make as soon as possible. I'm sort of on the fence whether or not I would want it in, because people, I guess it kind of hits my pride when I think that people who haven't played vanilla since it came out or have never played vanilla are saying, "Oh, Molten Core, it's a joke, it's a fucking joke. We're gonna completely crush it." Yada, yada, yada. I'm thinking, yeah, but not without add-ons. I can imagine the casual player will get stuck on Molten Core for like a month if they don't have add-ons to time their Baron Geddon AoE thing. Like if you know Baron Geddon, he has the I forget what it's called, but he has that AoE pulsating attack which destroys melee. Like if you stay in that and you don't predict it, it destroys melee. Also on Baron Geddon is the bomb. That's another big thing that could wipe raids. When you have raid add-ons, it clearly shows who has the bomb. It puts a mark on them. It is text in the middle of the screen saying X is bomb, and then obviously you have a spot where you go to. Imagine if they don't have like markers, and people legit actually have to look up to their debuffs and they have to time everything out, and they actually have to look at their debuffs limit, the debuff part of the screen to see if they have the bomb or not. I think that will throw a lot of people off, and people will shut their fucking mouth when they realize that Molten Core with no add-ons isn't as easy as people, I think, would like to think. Because I think a lot of, like, anti-WoW people take what people say about Molten Core and how easy it was, and then they're like, oh, it can't be that fun, Molten Core is a fucking joke, yada yada yada. So hopefully, I don't want, just for that very niche scenario, I don't want boss add-ons to be in the game, at least early on. Once you get to Naxxramas, maybe? I don't know. Like, it would make the game much more interesting. Absolutely, much more interesting. And obviously, it will shut the fuck up everyone who complains about how easy vanilla was. So there are add-ons that I'm sort of on the fence about. Obviously, add-ons that I definitely don't want. Like, if people are able to make a queuing add-on for raids and for dungeons, obviously not. Like, if Blizzard are able to, they should absolutely break them and never allow them to be used. Because you can't, and Ian said this as well, he said, you can't just tell people not to use it, and then magically no one's going to use it. Obviously, people are like water running downhill, right, or downstream, like the path of least resistance. This is something that's been said many a time in recently about player behavior. In that, if there's something that's going to make life easier, people will use it. The layman will use it. Obviously, like the hardcore pro vanilla players won't need it. They won't use it because they won't need it. And the people who want to live a authentic vanilla experience won't use it. But I feel like a majority of people will use it. So they need to break those things to never be used. Same as like gear score. Gear score is really a weird one because, as Esfan says, it's a complete noob trap. Like, if I know correctly and if I have my education on point, the best in slot healing wand is a BOE green item. A BOE green wand that has plus 39 healing spell. I think that is best in slot until Nax, I think. I know that on the private servers, it goes for like, on the auction house, it goes for like 5,000 gold, I think, maybe 7,500 gold. So it's definitely something that people want and willing to pay for. So I have to think that it is best in slot until Nax. And imagine what gear score number that would be, right? It'd be low compared to something like what? Crimson Shocker? Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Like 10 intellect, 10 stamina. It's like, no. And yet Crimson Shocker may have a higher item level if they were to, or gear score than this green wand. So I think gear score is something that people will try to use, and then there could be entire metas around it as well. Like, people who are so ignorant to the game may use gear score, and like, if these ignorant people start making groups and then they rely on gear score for their pugs, they could miss out on a lot of really good players who are going to make their lives easier just based on a number. Which I like, not to rant about modern WoW, but I think apart from LFR and LFD, the single biggest cancer to the game is item level. And there are many things which revolve around item level now. So if you change item level, get rid of it, you're going to have to change a bunch of other stuff. But item level is the biggest cancer. It's on the same level as LFR and LFD. I don't hate LFD because I have an idea about how it becomes less cancer without completely getting rid of it. But that's not really the topic of this video. But it's on the same level as LFR item level, and I feel like if they were to sort of if someone was to bring that into vanilla WoW, it could be bad, or people will mature the fuck up and realize that it's actually that's not how the game works. It's not that's not how the game works. So add-ons is a huge discussion. Things that I'm on the fence about, things like boss add-ons, things like questing add-ons. Questing add-ons, I don't want in the game, at least not in the beginning. Once people start making alts, maybe like 2-3 months down the line, once people start making alts, questing add-ons are completely fine, like Questy is completely fine. But I feel like, and this goes to the same point as like queuing add-ons and gear score add-ons, in that the casual layman player will use them because it makes their lives easier. Obviously there will be like the person who doesn't want to because they want to live that authentic vanilla experience, but then they're gonna fall behind. And but the majority will probably use a questing add-on if it's available. So I think 3 months down the line, questing add-on, completely okay. I'm okay with that. But at launch, no. I want people to read the quests. I want people to get lost, because I don't want to get sappy and sentimental, but I think there is something to be said for that moment where you get lost, where you get a bunch of quests at a quest hub. You look at the log for one quest, you get lost, but you end up finding the mobs maybe, or you end up finding an item for another quest. So let's say you head in one direction and you go in another. So you head in one direction that you weren't supposed to go to, and you kill a mob, and it pops up you killed 1 out of 10 mob, like Quillboar or something, and you're like, hang on, what the fuck? Like that happened so many times when I leveled on a private server with the authentic vanilla experience, no add-ons, no anything like that, and that happened a lot actually. Like I got lost a lot, and I ended up finding quest objectives that I didn't mean to, and it's like it feels really good, because then you realize, holy shit, I don't actually have to look at the quest log for this quest anymore because I already know where it is, and that's a fantastic feeling. And I think if they go the route of allowing quest add-ons, you're never going to get that feeling. You're not going to get lost when you can just click the map button M and you can see where everything is. Like, you're not going to get that feeling. So, and I think that's a feeling that is one of the hooks for WoW. Obviously, like walking into a major city for the first time, seeing a bunch of people running around doing quests, like getting a group for a dungeon. These are all hooks which hook the player, and I think those small puzzle pieces, which make up the larger jigsaw puzzle that is vanilla WoW, you need these small puzzle pieces, because if you take one out, sure, you still know what the picture looks like, but it's not complete. And I think those feelings, that's the thing, is that they're just feelings. They're not something that you can look at, and say, this is what we want. Because you can only express it. You can't, it's not tangible. It's something, it's electrical impulses in the mind, in the brain at least. And like, it's not something you can point at. So it's hard to really articulate something like that without someone being like, oh, it's just nostalgia. Ooh, like I fucking hate those people who say it's just nostalgia. Fuck, I hate those people so much. Because it's not just nostalgia. Maybe if you haven't played vanilla since vanilla, then your ideas of the game are based on nostalgia. Legitimately, they are. But if you play private servers, but you still love the game, that's not nostalgia. That's like playing BFA and saying, oh, you only like BFA because of nostalgia. That's ridiculous. So, it's not nostalgia. It is a legit feeling that I have, and that a lot of people have about the game. Getting lost, exploring. I still remember when I was on my druid in 2008, and it was my first time playing. I got the battle chest, vanilla and Burning Crusade for Christmas, and I leveled up my druid. And I remember I jumped off the edge of Teldrassil and swam out and died from fatigue. Just because I wanted to explore the entire world in its entirety. Obviously, like I'm never going to do that anymore because that would be stupid. But back then, I look upon that with fond memories. And those are the feelings that I want players to have. The idea that, it's like I said, it's all feelings. It's hard to articulate such a thing. But the game, at least for people who have played it for a long time, has become hyper efficient. The game has become hyper efficient, and everyone knows everything about everything, and they know the path they need to take. Like where to go, what dungeon to do to get your pre-raid best in slot items for any given class. That the average player can't just stop to smell the roses. That we can't just jump off the edge of Teldrassil and swim around the gigantic tree just to see if there's a secret, because we know there's not anymore. And this is the bane of the experienced player. It's an unfortunate thing that we just can't forget. Obviously, a lot of people like talk about if there was one thing that they could do, they would, they would forget that they read their favorite book so they could read it again, or they could watch their favorite movie again, or whatever. And I think for a lot of people, it would be they wish they could forget their entire vanilla, like everything they knew about it, and then start again. Because I think it's a strong feeling, it's a strong experience, because it changed the world. So it's not just like an isolated thing. It really spread itself among many people. Like at its peak, it was like 12 million active accounts, which, I mean, you probably think like 10 million players. I don't know what the daily the player count was. I'm not sure, but I can't believe I went on this entire rant when the topic was add-ons. But add-ons, they play a huge part in the way we see vanilla, in the way we experience vanilla. Like, you think in actual vanilla, no one, I don't want to say no one, but the best guilds never used raid add-ons until Naxxramas, or at least Nihilum did. Obviously, if you've watched the Kungan video where he goes through his screenshots of original Nax 40, he says that for the first time they ever used raid add-ons was the Four Horsemen, because they absolutely needed it. And you think, that's kind of what we want. Well, I mean, when I say we, I don't mean we, I mean me, really. That's why I'm kind of on the fence about raid add-ons. Because it will absolutely separate the wheat from the chaff, the men from the boys. People who are truly knowledgeable about the game, it will separate them from the people who watch a video online and who don't have their timings down pat. Because I think a lot of the, going back to Baron Geddon, a lot of the timing is like, it's all about timing. Getting out of the AoE, getting out of the group when you have the bomb. Like, it's all about timing, and it's all about vigilance, which is huge, which is very important, which raid add-ons trivialize, absolutely. But then, of course, there are smaller add-ons which don't affect the way we really experience WoW. I'm trying to think of some examples. Things like mail, right? Well, you could argue, like an automated mailing system that you can open all the mail super quickly does sort of change it. But I think unless you're like some hardcore gold maker and you're at your mailbox all the time, and you're sending mail, receiving mail all the time, it doesn't affect that much when it comes to your overall vanilla experience. I think it's just one small puzzle piece within the larger scale, which isn't such a big deal. To some people it is. If you really want to look at small picture, it's a big deal. Like big picture, not that big of a deal, unless you're a avid mail user, which I'm sure they're out there, like big profession guys and gold makers. Bagnon is a sort, it's like, it does sort of trivialize it doesn't trivialize bag management, right? It's not like Bagnon increases bag inventory space. it makes it much more visible, much more accessible, and much easier to use, which is not such a big deal. You know, it doesn't change anything massively about the game. Obviously, it just means you don't have to hit Shift B to open all your bags, right? You just hit B and it opens all your bags. So it's more like it's just a UI thing. It's not like a big mechanic change. I'm trying to think of some more small add-ons that don't affect anything. Like not unit frames. Yeah, like unit frames, like not a huge deal. But I was also saying like enemy nameplates, also not a big deal. Like these small add-ons I don't want to see broken, or I don't want to see changed, that I wouldn't mind seeing day one. Because I think if they have this beta period, I think a lot of the add-on makers, or the developers, are going to use that to test and to develop their add-ons, and so there will be many add-ons out at launch. If Blizzard were proactive with their breaking of add-ons, I think obviously your quest add-ons, your raid add-ons, your queuing add-ons, your gear score add-ons, what other massive things should they break? There aren't really that many. I think I'm not privy to every single add-on in the game that has a big problem. I think just those obvious, like the obvious ones, basically. Raid add-ons I'm a bit more on the fence. I don't want to see them in, but for my own convenience, for my own selfish reasons, I kind of want to see them in. Because truly, I don't know what the timings are. Like, if you were to put me in Baron Geddon without timing, I wouldn't know what the fuck I was doing. I would blow up everybody. I would probably stand in the AoE blaze that he has. Yeah, I mean, add-ons, it's a huge conversation to be had, which should be temporarily broken, such as quest add-ons. I don't mind quest add-ons, like I said, being there 3 months down the line when people start making their ults, and once people have really experienced that vanilla, reading the quest logs, whatnot, and actually experienced vanilla and getting lost and exploring. But then obviously another temporary break might be raid add-ons. Like if you want to say like no raid add-ons in vanilla and Onyxia, but you have raid add-ons for BWL, AQ, Zul'Gurub, and Nax. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I don't mind. But then you have your obvious ones like queuing systems and gear score systems, and then you have your ones on the other end of the spectrum that I don't mind seeing day one, like Bagnon, nameplate changes, unit frames, things that are more small convenience measures, like mailing add-ons as well. Small convenience that don't overall change the feeling of the game, and vanity add-ons like unit frames. They don't change anything mechanics wise in the actual game. They just make your raid frames much more homely to look at. So more like vanity add-ons I don't mind, and small convenience add-ons like mailing add-ons I don't mind. But it is going to be sort of a take it as it comes. So you can't just be like break all add-ons or let all add-ons like in the game. It's going to be something that they're going to have to look at kind of every single add-on and break this or don't break this, or maybe temporarily break it. That's going to be, add-ons are going to be the big thing soon. Once testing comes out and people start developing these add-ons, add-ons are going to be a big discussion to be had. And that ends this 1.5 hour rant. I'll probably edit it down, but just know that the raw file is 1.5 hours. I just kind of went on a rant. I just kind of spoke from the heart, and it hopefully it ends well. These are my ideas about the classic news that we had from BlizzCon, and my ideas for the future, and where I think a lot of people are kind of misjudging a lot of the semantics that the news brought. and trying to hopefully clear up a lot of confusion, and also throwing out some ideas, of course. And of course, for every point, I would love, like a mix between like and love, I would love to hear your ideas or your contradictions and why you think maybe raid add-ons will be a terrible thing, or why you want them out day one, or quest add-ons, why you want them out day one, or why you don't want them at all. I would love to hear everything you guys have to say, I should say. Constructive more than toxic. I would appreciate that. But more ideas, the better, because I feel like vanilla is this ever expanding void. Maybe not a void is the best word, but this ever expanding space, and we have to fill the space with ideas, and then they can then pick out the ideas that make the most sense and that will end up with the best product. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like if you did enjoy. Share. Like, sharing is a big thing. I hope that you do share this video around. Spread the ideas. Allow more people to share their ideas and get my ideas shared with others. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.